So tell us why a number of the people of Connecticut Drivers United are here today and what they hope to accomplish in this legislative session.
We're hoping to get a bill passed that would protect drivers, essentially. Our pay is abominable. It is absolutely the lowest it's ever been. We just showed a photo of a 20-30 minute delivery and the companies only would pay them $2. That's insane, as well as asking for transparency, and not just for us but for consumers, because you guys don't realize how much you guys already know the prices are high, and you don't realize how much these companies are taking from that and not giving to us drivers. And that's just more money leaving the state, more money leaving our local economies instead of staying in the community. I always think of it as a triangle cycle, is that consumers, if we won in our legislation of 85% guaranteed going to the driver, and with transparency to hold that accountable, consumers would pay the drivers would guarantee get 85% of that. That 85% would be funded back into our communities through mechanical shops, through gas, through all these local jobs. And then that money is what provides jobs for consumers. So keeping that money here in Connecticut and not these out-of-state international companies, as well as reciprocity. A lot of people don't realize, for rideshare drivers, if they go out of state and take a passenger, they cannot get another passenger until they reach the state line. They do not get compensated for that. They do not get compensated for a return toll, and you can lose $40 in 2 hours really quickly driving back. And it happens as well with delivery app drivers. It's just less likely. It depends on the app and it depends on the state. Those laws are a little bit more flexible, and as well as deactivations. So many drivers I know are deactivated without any ability to fight back.
What does that mean, deactivated?
Deactivated is basically when they close the platform and you're not allowed to work on the app anymore. Even if you've really done nothing wrong, you can sometimes pull an appeal, but also the problem with that is that they only allow drivers to do it in English. 75% of drivers, English is not their first language. They can speak, they can get around, but explaining a situation without being on a phone call and having to write it out is very hard for drivers. We would like to create a committee that drivers could come to at the state level and say, hey, they kicked me off the platform unfairly. I want you to look into this, and I want you to see if they've made the right call or not, and to let me back on the platform if it was truly an unfair deactivation. A lot of times things happen because of racial bias. That happens all the time. I have one friend who's a driver. He keeps stuff in his front seat so passengers don't sit there for his safety, because it's really easy to grab a driver, and he tends to keep cans because he goes and takes them to Stop and Shop to get the money, because that's how he pays for the gas. We barely get paid as it is. He had one of the cans fall out, and one happened to be a beer can, and the customer saw it and was like, hey, you drunk? The guy told him they were cans, and he could see the giant bag. They were cans for the grocery store, and he called Uber, said they were drunk, and he's been kicked off the platform ever since, even though he told Uber it was just cans. And I understand we do need to protect people against drunk drivers. We are fully for that, 100%. The only thing to ask is that we are innocent until proven guilty, not just assumed we're guilty automatically. It's really easy to just call the cops and ask for a breathalyzer test. And it's actually irresponsible that they kick them off the platform, but then they don't call a cop and just let them keep driving if they think they're drunk. There should be a breathalyzer test. It's a very simple phone call.
Now, you've been talking about app and platform. You did mention one company. I mean, these are companies.
Yes.
What are some of the names of the companies?
So Uber and Lyft maintain most of the rideshare, which is driving passengers arena. And then you have Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Postmates, which is owned by Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, which is delivering groceries, Shipped, which is delivering groceries, and then there's other small ones about, but those are the big major players.
So we're here in the legislature, and you're trying to get something passed. Have you tried before with legislation?
Yes, we tried before last year. We're mainly asking for standards. $1.30 per mile, 60 cents per minute would be a hope for this year. We have to wait for the legislation to come out. We made it through committee, through state senate last year, and we almost made it through the state of representatives. Unfortunately, how the House works is you have till a certain hour deadline on a final day for a representative to bring your bill to the floor, and unfortunately time ran out and we got cut short, but I'm hopeful with this session. We keep knocking down. Before, we didn't make it through committee, probably about 3 years ago, I would say, I think it is. Then a year after that, we made it through committee. Last year, we made it through committee and Senate. So it's an obvious, logical, thing that you would believe that we're going to also make it through the committee, make it through the state senate, and then we're going to barge through and demand that we make it through the state representatives and see the governor himself and really demand fair treatment for drivers. And
approximately how many workers in Connecticut do this kind of work?
That's also part of the transparency, is that we really don't know. There's no accounts. These companies won't turn over their records. They keep everything behind closed doors. We're guessing it's anywhere between 10,000 to 20,000 drivers in the state of Connecticut. And a lot of these people have no idea that they can even just come here and demand their rights. And if any drivers are watching this, please reach out to us. You can Google us, Connecticut Drivers United. This is your government. You're their boss. You're the one that voted them in. They have to listen to you, and we have to keep knocking that door, because it's not right that drivers are getting paid next to nothing, then working for free, driving back from out of state. Customers have no transparency of where their money is going, and both sides are being ripped off.
If a driver or someone from the public wants to get a hold, is there an email, a phone number, website?
They can go to ConnecticutDriversUnited.com. The easiest way to find us is just Google Connecticut Drivers United. We have a website there. We are also Connecticut Drivers United on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. And you can find our page there and DM us anytime.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.